Hello ladies and gentlemen, Xtentor here and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today is an in-flight news video on the E175 family. Now, I'm going to go through it from the very get-go of when Infinite Flight announced the rework. Personally I was a bit shocked. I was hoping for an AT75 to come along, the ATR75 sorry, to come along first, but it's okay. We can work through the E175. I'll let you guys know what I've got thinking about it, what I think of it, what liveries might be coming. I'll let you guys know all of that. So we'll just start from the get-go. So the first thing that I could find is photo of the fuselage, well, half of it sort of, which looks really cool. And then moving on, you got like the little inside of the aircraft, which I think it looks really cool as well. So stuff like this, you can see where they're getting the frameworks of the aircraft from the very get-go. And this is really where all the aircraft in the flight simulator begin, as like a little weird thing in this editor that they have. So I think that's definitely something worth appreciating. Now the next thing we could see was sort of the whole plane, I suppose, and we're slowly seeing bits of the plane come together by Infinite Flight here, and it is looking cool. So they've got two aircraft in development, and one of them is the ERJ175, they said. And what they've done is they've showed us a 3D model of it finally coming together and some colours to show where the flight controls are cut out to the rest of the model. So it looks really cool and it's definitely coming along very fast, as you can see, because the time frame between the last post was January 10th and this one is February 7th. So within a month they have actually assembled the outer shell of this aircraft, which is something they've done very quickly here. And I think that's important to recognise how fast they are actually moving. Okay, now moving on to the next bit of info news with the E175. Next thing they released was like a low poly rendering, I think they call it, of the entire aircraft. Now, it does look really cool, and I will admit it. When I did see this earlier, I got very excited for the upcoming update. Alongside it, very shortly after, they also released just a little side view of the aircraft, which again, looks really cool. It looks like they're going with the similar window design to all of the newly updated aircraft, where it's just like sort of empty inside. However, I would suspect that the E175 will be full all the way inside the aircraft. But I'm not too sure, and we can only guess, can't we, at this point. Now, the next thing that was released was a very detailed photo of the nose gear. Now, very random place of the aircraft, but also a very important bit. And I think the sheer amount of detail is what they're trying to portray in this photo that has gone into the hard work of making this aircraft reworked for the flight simulator. So you can see the amount of detail on this, alongside with the reverse thrust. Like, you can even see like they've tried to include the details of the inside of the engine here, which to me is really impressive and a huge amount of respect for those who have put in lots of hard work to get in this far. Now, then they also showed us the nose gear where it will actually go up inside of the aircraft. Again, just the small details like this, which is what I think Infinite Flight are really aiming for with the reworks at the moment. Just more detail, live cockpits, and this sort of stuff. So hopefully within the next few years as well, like every aircraft in Infinite Flight will be reworked. But that might be a bit ambitious. We never know. You never know what the developers are working on without telling us. Right. So now we see the first glimpse of the cockpit. So the cockpit is now in working progress. So this is April the 22nd, which is maybe 3-4 months ago now. So not too long ago actually, when they were now working on this cockpit. So that we got a polygon wireframe 3D rendering. So this is pretty much again just like the structure of the fuselage of the aircraft we had earlier on. And then the next thing they show us is the yoke. Literally 2 weeks later, we see the amazing yoke. I think the yoke on the E175 is really unique in just that little, it's sort of an upside down W shape or two V's together. I think just its shape and general design is very unique for the aircraft or Embraers in general. So I think it's really cool. And then they also showed us a little later two of them, of course, inside the cockpit together where they've now stuck it on. So I think that looks really cool. And then the next thing we see is the thing most of us, I think, we're looking forward to here, really, which is the entirety of the cockpit. Minus the chairs. The chairs appear to be missing. But, you know, these pilots can stand, can't they? They'll be alright. So I think, again, the amount of detail gone into this post is crazy. Especially like they've gone to the level of getting the colours of everything right, and as you can tell, it looks like it would definitely be another live cockpit, because that is obviously now the standard with Infinite Flight nowadays, to have these amazing live cockpits that we can all see. Okay, right, what is next? Yes, so the next thing we see, some of you may think it's a step back. I don't think it is. But you see like the outside of the aircraft again of the fuselage, and it looks like they've actually now fixed up or like put together all of the little bits of the aircraft, so it's all one now. And what they'll look at doing now is getting these cool liveries that all of you want. Now, let me know what kind of liveries you guys are after, but I'll let you know the liveries that I would love to see on the E175 in the upcoming update. Now, I don't actually currently have to hand what airlines Infinite Flight have on the E175. I don't think there's too many, but I think the Alaska Airlines would look quite cool. The American Express and United Express Airlines, I think those would look cool. American Eagle, I think they also have an American. I'm not too sure. Pretty sure Delta is already in it, so lots of the US airlines are on it. I think a lot is already on it as well. I'm not too sure if Alaska. I think I've already said that, which is on it. So quite a few American carriers have it. Now there's also I think it's called Overland Airways, which I saw earlier, which looks quite cool, and they've got a really cool livery. So there are many cool liveries. The KLM livery again, I believe that is already in the flight simulator. Not too sure, but Infinite Flight always involve airlines and liveries that you might have not always heard of. So I think it's very likely for them to include something like Congo Airways, that livery. So I think it's very, very likely to see a little weird livery like that, and that we didn't quite see coming. And that is what, again, I think makes some of the Infinite Flight rework so special. Now then, the next thing Infinite Flight released was again the infamous wingtip photo. Now just look at that. Now I'm not too sure if that's the aileron or spoiler. I think that's the aileron there, but look at the detail. Now, again, many of you might be thinking, oh, it's just the corner of the wing, but the detail on this is amazing, which will make it look so much better when you play the game in the future. You will all reach a point where you can appreciate how well detailed it is. And then moving on, you see, I think this is the latest photo we've seen, the underbelly. Now this is where the gear go up into. Obviously you can't see the gear, so gonna have a bit of a struggle landing there without the gear. But they'll obviously add that on. Don't worry. But just the amount of detail in bits of the aircraft like this, and you can see where like even with the structures and the shapes, like they're not all squares. They're all weird shapes that have to be aligned perfectly. I'm not too sure with the details they use or what anything or how they do it, but yeah. So this was June the 15th, which I think is the last to date public thing we have seen of it. Oh, yeah. Other than the fighters, yeah, I think it's the F-18 which is doing rework, and I will cover that in another special video to itself. As I think, of course, fighter jets are just as important and cool in the flight simulator as these big things. So, yeah, if you're asking me, it's definitely worthwhile having a look at that in its own video if you want to know. If you did make it this far in the video, let me know below in the comments, because I'm curious to who makes it this far. So, thank you again for watching this YouTube video, and I hope to see you all in my next YouTube video. I'm trying to do daily videos. We're back on the grind. Thank you and good night.
Find your way into this wonderland, cross the